Everybody said Remington was dead. Bankrupt twice. Quality control so bad it made lifelong shooters walk away for good. They were right to leave, and honestly, nobody blamed them. Here is the deal. While the internet kept writing obituaries, a new team in LaGrange, Georgia was rebuilding this company bolt by bolt, board by board. 5 rifles just walked out of that factory and shut every doubter up cold. Today we break down the 5 guns proving the big green giant did not just survive, it came back swinging hard. Sliding into position number 5, the Remington 870 Fieldmaster. Here is the deal. This shotgun carries the heaviest burden on this list, because the 870 name got dragged through the mud by the old Express version. Rust spots after one rainy hunt, shells that would not eject. A chamber finish so rough it might as well have been left raw from the mill. RemArms looked at that mess and did not just slap a new sticker on it. They tore the whole platform down and rebuilt it from the chamber out. Under the hood, the fix comes down to one word: polish. The old Express skipped chamber polishing to save pennies, and when a shell fires, the brass base expands under pressure and grabs onto every microscopic groove left behind by the cutting tool. That is what jams a pump gun shut. The Fieldmaster gets that chamber worked smooth as glass, so spent hulls slide out clean, run after run, even on the cheap steel shot loads. Feel it in your hands, and the difference shows immediately: walnut furniture with real checkering instead of stamped hardwood, a soft recoil pad that actually tames the kick on heavy waterfowl loads, and a receiver drilled and tapped from the factory for glass. Rugged and reliable, this shotgun earns its spot honestly. My only gripe is the price tag. Sets you back around $600, noticeably more than a Mossberg 500. That is not a mission killer, just a fair warning before you walk into the store. Stepping up the game now, Remington 700 Alpha 1 Hunter. Let's be real, the old 700 spent a decade drowning in lawsuits over trigger failures. Walker Trigger, X-Mark Pro, both haunted this platform's reputation for years. RemArms did not try to fix that mess in-house again. Smart move. They went straight to Timney Triggers, the aftermarket trigger legends who have been perfecting this exact job since 1946, and dropped their Elite Hunter straight trigger in standard. Crisp break, zero creep, right out of the box. Under the hood, the real technical leap is the 5R rifling in that barrel. Most factory barrels cut an even number of rifling grooves, which means every land sits directly across from another land, squeezing the bullet jacket from opposing angles and chewing up copper fouling in sharp corners. 5R uses an odd number of grooves with angled walls instead of square ones, so a land always faces a groove, not another land. Less friction, less jacket deformation, and a barrel that cleans up in half the time. Rolls over like glass on a rail, this trigger, and the fit and finish backs it up. Threaded muzzle for a suppressor, expanded ejection port, a synthetic stock built for grip in bad weather. Honestly, my only real complaint here is the price. You are looking at roughly $1,500 to $1,725, which puts it toe-to-toe with Browning's X-Bolt Pro. That is not cheap. But if you want a hunting rifle you never have to send back to a gunsmith, this is where that peace of mind lives. Entering the elite tier now, Remington Model 783. Look, this rifle carries a strange history. Remington launched it back in 2013, and it should have crushed the budget bolt-action market. Instead, weak marketing and sloppy finish work let Ruger American and Savage Axis walk away with that segment, while the 783 sat on shelves, overlooked. RemArms did not treat this platform like a failed experiment worth burying. They treated it like an engineering gem that never got a fair shot, and they were right to think that way. Let's be real about what makes a budget rifle actually shoot straight, because it usually comes down to one invisible measurement: headspace. That is the exact distance between the bolt face and the shoulder of the chambered round. And on a premium rifle, A machinist spends real time and real money cutting that tolerance by hand. Too tight, the bolt will not close. Too loose, and you risk a case rupture right at your face. The 783 solves this with a barrel nut system instead. The factory threads the barrel into the receiver alongside a go gauge, dials in perfect headspace, then locks it down with the nut. Same precision, a fraction of the labor cost. That single design choice is the reason this rifle can chase sub 1.5 minute of angle accuracy at 100 yards while wearing a price tag under $650. Under the hood, there is a second trick working alongside the barrel nut, the floating bolt head. Instead of a fixed bolt face, this design lets the locking lugs self-align inside the receiver raceways, so pressure from firing spreads evenly across both lugs instead of concentrating on whichever one happens to sit a few thousandths tighter. Combine that with pillar bedding inside the nylon-reinforced stock, isolating the action from stock torque, and you get a rifle that stays free-floated and consistent no matter how many rounds you run through it or what the weather is doing outside. Feels honest in your hands, this rifle does. No false luxury, no pretending to be something it is not. The Crossfire 2-stage trigger adjusts anywhere from 2.5 to 5 pounds, which is a feature you would expect on a rifle twice this price, not on an entry-level ranch gun. Chambered options run wide too, everything from 243 Winchester up through 300 Winchester Magnum. So whether you are chasing coyotes or elk, there is a 783 built for the job. My only real gripe lands on aesthetics. The synthetic stock will never turn heads at deer camp, and the finish is purely function over form. But that is not a mission killer. This rifle was never built to impress your buddies standing around the tailgate. It was built to put meat on the ground without draining your bank account, and on that mission, it does not miss. Closer to the crown now, Remington 700 Long Range. Now, if you have ever watched a precision rifle series match, you already know the rules changed over the last 10 years. Targets are not sitting at 100 yards anymore. They are steel plates swinging at 500, 800, sometimes past 1,000 yards out, and a rifle either has what it takes to ring steel at that distance consistently, or it gets left in the truck. RemArms did not ignore that shift. They built the 700 Long Range specifically to answer it, and this is where the platform stops being a hunting rifle and starts being a competition weapon. Under the hood, everything starts with that 26-inch heavy target contour barrel, cut with the same 5R rifling found on the Alpha 1 Hunter. But length and rifling are only half the story here. A barrel that heavy is not just about stiffness, it is about heat management. Every round fired dumps thermal energy into that steel, and a thin barrel will start to warp unevenly as it heats up. A phenomenon shooters call barrel whip. That whip shifts your point of impact mid-string, and in a match where every shot counts, that shift is the difference between a hit and a miss. The extra mass in this heavy contour barrel soaks up that heat and holds its shape, round after round, string after string. Now, here's what holds that barrel steady though. None of it matters without a stock that refuses to move. This rifle sits inside an HS precision stock built from fiberglass and Kevlar, but the real engineering lives inside, where a full-length aluminum bedding block gets molded directly into the stock in a V-block configuration. That block wraps around the receiver on precise angles, creating a permanent metal-to-metal contact surface that will not shift, will not compress, and will not change dimensions when humidity swings from a dry range day to a rainy match morning. Under heavy recoil from Magnum chamberings, that receiver stays locked in place instead of shifting even a few thousandths inside a softer stock. Snaps clean like a fresh zero. This trigger does. The Timney Impact 700 uses sealed construction to keep dust and moisture out of the mechanism entirely, and it ships factory set between 3 and 4 pounds with zero mush. Pair that with modern long-range chamberings like 6.5 Creedmoor and 7mm PRC, cartridges engineered from the ground up for flat trajectories and minimal wind drift, and you are looking at a rifle that competes straight out of the box against dedicated chassis systems costing twice as much. Honestly, my only real complaint is that this rifle demands commitment. You are looking at roughly $1,000 to $1,200, and that heavy barrel is not exactly a lightweight companion on a long mountain hunt. This is not a walk-around gun. It is a bench and a bipod and 1,000 yards of open ground, and it does that one job better than almost anything else in this price range. This is where most channels stop. We keep going, because number one on this list is not the rifle with the flashiest carbon fiber or the biggest optic budget. Number one is the rifle that never stopped being the soul of American hunting, the Remington 700 BDL and its stainless stablemate, the CDL SF. Listen, every technical achievement we just walked through, the 5R rifling, the Timney triggers, the aluminum bedding blocks, all of it exists because engineers spent 60 years chasing perfection on a cylindrical receiver design that debuted back in 1962. Remington machinists realized something the competition had not. A round receiver, turned from solid steel bar stock on a lathe, could hold tighter tolerances between the barrel and the action than the milled receivers used by Mauser 98 pattern rifles or the Winchester Model 70. That single insight is why this action became the most cloned, most copied, most aftermarket-supported bolt gun platform on planet Earth. Every scope base, every replacement stock, every drop-in trigger you can imagine exists because gunsmiths and manufacturers built an entire ecosystem around this receiver. Now the BDL carries that legacy forward in a way numbers alone cannot capture. Picture American walnut with a raised Monte Carlo comb, cut specifically to keep your eye lined up behind a scope instead of a set of iron sights. High gloss finish deep enough to show your reflection. An ebony fore-end cap. White line spacers separating the recoil pad from the wood, a detail that means absolutely nothing for accuracy and everything for craftsmanship. And underneath all of that beauty sits a blued steel finish that takes a gunsmith hours of hand polishing through multiple grits before it ever touches the hot bluing salts. One missed scratch, one rushed pass with the polishing wheel, and the whole finish reveals every flaw under that deep blue-black sheen. Building that by the thousands and getting it right proves RemArms never lost the hand skills that made this company legendary in the first place. The CDL SF takes that same soul and dresses it for hard use. Satin walnut instead of high gloss, stainless steel instead of blued carbon steel, and fluted barrel work cut down the length of the barrel. Those flutes are not just for looks. Cutting that material away sheds real weight off the front end for hunters climbing mountains after elk, while the added surface area helps the barrel shed heat faster between shots, holding zero tighter across a long day in the field. Under the hood, both rifles run on the exact same cylindrical action that started this entire dynasty, chambered in everything from workhorse deer cartridges to serious magnum options for dangerous game. Holding this rifle feels like holding 60 years of history in a single piece of steel and walnut. Because it is not chasing a trend, it was never trying to be a chassis system or a tactical platform. It set the standard that every hunting rifle since has been measured against, and 6 decades later, it still refuses to be replaced. My only honest complaint sits at the register. The damage to your wallet runs roughly $1,100 to $1,300 for either version, and that is a real number for a working rifle. But look, if you are on a tight budget, this one is not built for you, and that is fine. This rifle is built for people who buy once, hand it down to their kids, and buy right the first time. And that is why, after 2 bankruptcies, a mountain of lawsuits, and a decade of shooters swearing off the name entirely, Remington did not just survive, it came home. 5 rifles, 2 bankruptcies, 1 brand that everybody, including me, was ready to bury for good. Here is the deal. The 870 Fieldmaster proved a pump gun could earn its reputation back one polished chamber at a time. The Alpha 1 Hunter and the Long Range showed this company can compete with anybody chasing precision at serious distance. The 783 democratized accuracy for hunters who do not have $3,000 to spend on a rifle. And that 700 BDL sitting at number 1. That rifle reminded every one of us why we fell in love with this brand before the lawsuits, before the bankruptcies, before any of it went wrong. Big Green did not just survive, It rebuilt itself from the chamber out, and it earned every bit of that name back. Watch your 6. I am out.